Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since we've done one of these, but welcome to This or That, the series where I give you 15 different WWE related scenarios to vote on, and we look at the results and we see whether I agree with the majority or with the minority. We do these every once in a while. It's been several months since we've done one of these, but if you do want to participate in the next one, make sure that you're following me on X, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you want more than the daily content that we do here, make sure you check out patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, you're going to get so much more extra content that we can never upload here because we use footage over there. And of course, that would just get blocked here due to copyright. So go check it out. Link in the description or link in the pinned comment. Let's get started. Who is the better alleged El Grande Americano, Chad Gable or Ludwig Kaiser? So this was actually pretty even, with Ludwig Kaiser just edging out Chad Gable at 54.5% of the votes. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm now leaning towards saying that Ludwig Kaiser is the better choice at the moment. Don't get me wrong, if you're asking me who is the better alleged El Grande Americano from an in-ring perspective, I'm going to say that Chad Gable is definitely that guy. I don't think that Ludwig Kaiser as El Grande Americano has yet to put on as good of an in-ring performance as Chad Gable did, as El Grande Americano did at WrestleMania 41 against Rey Fenix. And Chad Gable played the role very, very well. However, Ludwig Kaiser doesn't just play it well, he plays it beyond well. He plays it like he's been playing this character for the past 30 years. The answer here is Ludwig Kaiser from a character perspective. He's managed to get himself over as a character with the fans in Mexico as well. Honestly, I think whether it's intentional or not, Ludwig Kaiser may be due for superstardom in Mexico because of his role as El Grande Americano. I don't think he's going to reach anywhere near the heights on the main roster in the WWE as Ludwig Kaiser as he's going to as El Grande Americano in AAA. So I sincerely hope that Ludwig Kaiser is ready for this to be a long-term play and not just a short-term gimmick, because this thing is over. And when things get over in Mexico, they last forever. I'm not even exaggerating on that. Like, iterations and generations of the same character still continue to get over with their sons and their nephews and new people taking the mantle like La Parca. We could be talking about El Grande Americano genuinely being a gimmick in Mexico for the next 50 years. That's how things latch on in Mexican lucha libre. That's just how it is. And I don't think that I could say the same thing with Chad Gable playing the role of El Grande Americano as good as he was. I think he was good in the WWE sense, but Ludwig Kaiser became excellent in the AAA lucha libre sense. So I'm going to agree with the majority here. I'm going to go with the alleged Ludwig Kaiser as El Grande Americano being better. I want to clarify that I did put alleged. I don't want to get sued by either Chad Gable, Ludwig Kaiser, or El Grande Americano, all right? I didn't intend to create any sort of nasty rumors. What would you prefer for John Cena? An Intercontinental title run or a tag titles run with R-Truth? Okay, so the vast majority of people here went with the Intercontinental Championship run at 76.2% of the vote. For me, it's actually a little bit closer. I get wanting John Cena to become a Grand Slam champion, but that's never really been a motivation of John Cena. John Cena has never really been known to want the glory of becoming a Grand Slam champion. He's never really been synonymous with the Intercontinental Championship. So to me, there really isn't that much meaning and worth in having John Cena become an Intercontinental champion. However, I do think that there's a lot more story worth in him having a tag titles run with R-Truth, especially as an I'm sorry to everybody based on everything that happened with R-Truth getting released, John Cena getting turned heel, and now they've reconciled and they're both on the same brand. They're both good guys. We're not that far away from actually getting a tag titles run with R-Truth. As entertaining as it would be and as more emotionally impactful as I think a tag titles run would be, I think I am going to go with the majority here of an Intercontinental Championship run, not because of I want Cena to be a Grand Slam champion, but because I want to see John Cena face off against people that are in the Intercontinental Championship picture, not just these perennial main event guys that could main event WrestleManias or other PLEs. How about a John Cena versus a Dominic Mysterio versus Carmelo Hayes? Like, these names that could impact wrestling for the next 20 plus years. I like both of these options but I think in terms of the better return to the industry, I think John Cena having an Intercontinental Championship run is better for the industry, as we saw with his fantastic US Championship run in the mid-2010s that truly elevated not just a bunch of talent that were going after the US Championship being held by John Cena, but elevated the division and the worth of the championship as well. Luckily, we're in an era where the IC Championship feels important, so it doesn't need John Cena to prop it up. But if John Cena is holding that title, I mean, as you've seen with Becky Lynch, like if a main event Hall of Fame person is holding a mid-card title, it makes that title matter a heck of a lot more. So yeah, I'll go with the majority here, Intercontinental Championship run, but don't rule out how awesome a tag titles run with R-Truth would be. What do you want next for Chris Jericho? Retire after his AEW run or a final run with WWE? So the reason why I put this on here is because apparently Chris Jericho is listening to the idea of potentially returning to the WWE after his AEW contract runs out. He was caught on social media liking some posts about his return to the WWE. So it is a realistic scenario that we can actually start to play out in our heads. I don't know what I want out of a final run with the WWE from Chris Jericho. I don't know that I want an in-ring run. I think I would prefer a backstage role. Maybe if it is an on-screen role, a manager role. I know he can still go in the ring, but I've already seen pretty much every iteration of Chris Jericho that if he were to return to the WWE, and I know that this is an unfair ask, I'd like to see something new, and it's an unfair ask to ask that of somebody who is 55 years old in the twilight of his career. Then again, it's Chris fucking Jericho who is capable of reinventing himself at the snap of a finger. So if he is willing to do something new, something fresh, something that we haven't seen from the Chris Jericho that we already know in his final run in the WWE, then I'd say, yeah, let's have one final run in the WWE. But if it's to rehash something old, something that we've already seen before, I think I would rather have the memory of it being when he was younger and more agile and better in ring than it is now. So if he's not going to bring anything new, if it's just going to be a rehash of something old, I would prefer for him to, hey, just hang up the boots, amazing career. But if he's got some new, if he's got some left in the tank, I want to see it. Thank you to Bear Mattress for sponsoring today's video. If you're ready to upgrade your sleep, make sure you head over to bearmattress.com/Mr. Santi's app and use code Mr. Santi's app for 40% off. That's even better than what's on their site right now. Bear Mattress is a premium fiberglass-free mattress designed to improve your sleep and your life. And they ship it for free and right to your door. I took their online sleep quiz, and based on my results as a side sleeper who likes a firm feel, I got matched with their Elite Hybrid mattress. I've had my mattress now for about 4 weeks, and I noticed that I fall asleep faster, wake up without aches, and I don't overheat at night thanks to Bear's sleep recovery technology. And it's not just me. In a recent survey, 82% of Bear customers reported better sleep quality, and 95% would recommend it to a friend. Even Dwayne the Dog Johnson loved it. He's now a bed dog, okay? He shouldn't be in the bed, but he is now. Plus, there's a 120-night sleep trial, a limited lifetime warranty, and financing options. So if you're looking to sleep cooler, cleaner, and more comfortably, take it from me, I love my Bear mattress, and I think that you will too. Again, go to bearmattress.com/Mr. Santi's app and use code Mr. Santi's app to get that 40% off while you still can. Thank you again to Bear Mattress for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get you back to talking about some wrestling. Who was the better celebrity wrestler, Jelly Roll or Johnny Knoxville? Okay, so the better celebrity match, and it's not even close, is the Johnny Knoxville Jackass Rules fight against Sami Zayn. That is one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time because it knew exactly what it was and it was hilarious. However, the question here is who is the better celebrity wrestler, and I do think that the answer here is Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll put in time, he put in effort, and not only from like the in-ring perspective do I see a lot more of like actual of a wrestler from Jelly Roll than I did from Johnny Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville was just basically out there doing jackass stunts on a live stage. Jelly Roll was actually wrestling, but where Jelly Roll really won me over was the other aspects of a wrestler. His promo ability was fantastic. His facial expressions and his ability to tell a story with his body and his emotions. I felt it. Like when he was trying to muster up the energy to go back for the hot tag for Randy Orton Orton at SummerSlam, I was on board. I was in. He won me over emotionally, and that to me is a mark of of somebody that has studied how to be a good professional wrestler outside of just the stuff that happens in the ring. So I'm gonna go with Jelly Roll, but the better celebrity match was absolutely 100% the Jackass match, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. That Jackass match, by the way, the only celebrity match better than that is literally Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in the Puerto Rico street fight. That's the only one that's better than that one. Who wins a world title first, Jacob Fatu or Braun Breaker? Wow, all right, this is really, really lopsided. At 79% of the vote, Braun Breaker ended up winning this. Now, for me personally, I think it is Braun Breaker. I think if we had have asked this question, let's say maybe right after WrestleMania 41, the night after WrestleMania 41, I think Jacob Fatu would have probably won this poll, or maybe it would have been just a lot more split down the middle. But based on the trajectory that Braun Breaker is taking already in storylines with the likes of Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and of course being tied together with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, this guy is a guarantee in the WWE. So is Jacob Fatu, but I do think that the road for Jacob Fatu isn't quite as clean and as clear as it is here to the world title as it is for Braun Breaker. So I'm going to go with Braun Breaker here. I'm going with the majority. Who is the better puppet WWE superstar, La Yesca or El Demonito? Listen, all right, this Demonito, I get it. He's popular, but he's the new cat in the scene. It's all about La Yesca, who's been entertaining the masses for a very, very long time. This Demonito, yeah, sure, up and coming puppet WWE superstar, but at the end of the day, it's all about the classics, La Yesca. What Becky Lynch run was better, the current heel Intercontinental Championship run or the 2019 The Man run? I love how split down the middle is because I've been saying that the current heel iteration of Becky Lynch is the best version of Becky Lynch, and for a while, people were pushing back on me, trying to slam dunk on me, saying that I don't know anything about wrestling, that The Man was ridiculously over, which is all true, by the way. Both of these are amazing. I don't think that you can go wrong with either of these. I will say, all right, and just try to hear me out. I think that 2019 The Man Becky Lynch was amazing, but it was made to look even better by how bad WWE is. Many people consider 2019 to be arguably the worst year in the history of the WWE from a creative standpoint, and The Man Becky Lynch was one of those things that was standing out, that was actually good, that was worthwhile watching, that was entertaining, that was pushing the boundaries, that was innovative. So it made the character look even better than it probably actually was. Current heel IC champ Becky Lynch is fantastic in every right, but she isn't carrying the company at all whatsoever. 2019 The Man was carrying 2019 WWE. However, if I take away all of the extracurriculars of like how popular she was versus the rest of the roster, and I just put in terms of entertainment factor, current heel IC champ Becky Lynch or 2019 The Man, I think that the current heel Becky Lynch is better. She is having better matches. She is having better friggin' promos, storylines. This current version of Becky Lynch is perfect. 2019 The Man, very close to perfect, but I don't think it was perfect. I think that what we're seeing right now from Becky Lynch is a hell of a second spurt for her career. I love what they're doing right now with heel Becky Lynch, and with a slight majority of 51.7%, I guess you guys also mostly agree, but there's a lot of people that would still choose 2019 The Man. The result of Cena's last match: Cena wins or Cena loses? Another one that is split down the middle. Listen, you know, traditional, conventional tradition says that you go out on your back looking up at the lights, putting over the next generation. That is how WWE has pretty much always operated with retirement matches. You can go back to, of course, the retirement match of Ric Flair, the I'm sorry, I love you, all that stuff, even though he came out of retirement like 50 different times outside of the WWE. I digress. Retirement matches, you lose. However, Sting may have changed that trend over in AEW. His retirement match, he won. He won and he got to walk out as a champion, and then he vacated the championship, the tag titles, not the world title or anything like that. But I love that. I love that Sting got to go out on top, and it wasn't the traditional, hey, sorry, Goldberg, you got to do the job for the next generation that is Gunther. I think Cena is, of course, on the same level and the same pedestal as a Sting. So if WWE were to have him win on his way out, I would love that. I really would. I think that the burden of retiring John Cena is such a tough burden for any next generation superstar that's going to be there for the, for the next year, 10 years to try and carry. As we've seen in the past, beating John Cena doesn't automatically elevate you to superstardom. Look at poor Austin Theory here. So because of Sting, not because I'm a John Cena fan, because of Sting, I think that the best, safer option here is actually to have Cena win. So I'm gonna say Cena wins. Now, it's not quite with the majority here. The majority at 51.3%, basically split down the middle, is saying Cena loses, but I mean, toss a coin, I guess. What was the better Seth Rollins Money in the Bank cash in, WrestleMania 31 or SummerSlam 2025? Oh my goodness. Okay, if it's like literally only the cash in and the drama of what happened during the cash in, I think the answer is WrestleMania 31. The shock and awe was there. The big stage was there, turning it into a triple threat and something that we've never seen before. And then the back and forth between Roman, Brock, and Seth was lights out. It was edge of your seat. You had no idea what was going to happen. And it had one of my favorite finishing sequences to a triple threat match ever, which is Brock Lesnar with Seth Rollins about to hit an F5. He hits a spear from Roman Reigns, and then Roman gets up and eats a stomp from Seth Rollins for Seth Rollins to pick up the victory, the heist of the century. He sprints up the ramp, celebrates swinging the bell. Like, everything about WrestleMania 31's cash-in is amazing. If I include the external stuff, the WWE toying and playing with our expectations of kayfabe, SummerSlam 2025 is an actual masterpiece. A story delivery that I don't know that WWE can ever properly replicate, with this fake injury at Saturday night's main event that looked very real, the way that they sold it on social media, these doctor visits to Alabama, and then the reveal with him coming out to just say, hey, I'm coming for you. He turns around movie villain style, drops the crutches, goes out there, cashes in. The cash in itself, nowhere near as exciting as WrestleMania 31. But again, when I encompass everything that went into it, SummerSlam 2025 is so special. It's so bizarrely different that I'm leaning towards SummerSlam 2025. Maybe a little bit of recency bias, but I'm going to go with the minority here that voted at 39% versus the 61% that went with WrestleMania 31. Both are amazing. I actually say both are like 1 and 2, like 1A, 1B, not even 1-2, 1A, 1B. They're both at the top. I think Seth Rollins has the title of the two greatest cash-ins in the history of the WWE. Who returns to WWE first, if ever? Braun Strowman or Karrion Kross? All right, so they've both been basically fired and both have been brought back. So they both have a history of being able to return to the WWE. I would say that right now I'm leaning towards Karrion Kross, like the majority is here, at nearly 70%. I think out of these two, the one that has the ability to make the most noise in the independents to then allow him to knock back on the door of the WWE is Karrion Kross. I don't think that Braun Strowman is that guy. I think that WWE could very easily at any moment demand and want a Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman fits so well in any division in the WWE that he's an easy one to bring back. Karrion Kross is not so easy to bring back in terms of like where you put him, storylines, feuds, etc. But Karrion Kross is in that road to make himself so undeniable in the indies that it might have no choice but to for the WWE to bring him back if he decides to want to make that return. So I am going to say Karrion Kross. I'll agree with you guys. Who betrays who first? first? Alexa betrays Charlotte or Charlotte betrays Alexa? This one, dude, this one's basically 50-50. 50.9% saying Alexa betrays over the 49.1% saying that Charlotte betrays. Oh man, this is tough. Listen, I think it's cool that Charlotte got over as a babyface, but I think she will always be best as a heel. I truly, genuinely believe that. Now, if they do decide to go with Alexa Bliss in the Wyatt Six in some capacity, the Wyatt Six are currently the heels of the tag team division, so maybe that could sway in the decision for Alexa to be the one to betray Charlotte to be the baby face in this scenario, but Charlotte will always just work better as a heel, so I'm going to say Charlotte betrays Alexa. What happens first? Sami Zayn world title win or an LA Knight world title win? So 59% of the people are saying Sami Zayn, even though it is LA Knight that has a world championship opportunity just around the corner at Clash in Paris. I think that's basically the world saying that none of us believe that LA Knight's actually going to win that. And even if he doesn't win that, I think he'll still be in the picture, but I don't see it. I don't see LA Knight being the guy to dethrone Seth Rollins anytime soon. Now, mind you, Sami Zayn had just gotten shipped over to Friday Night SmackDown and he's feuding for the United States Championship. He's nowhere near to feuding with like Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre, and he's obviously very far away now from Seth Rollins. So the degrees of separation of Sami Zayn to the world title are quite large, significantly large to the degrees of separation of LA Knight and the world title. However, there is a Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, a Royal Rumble that many people, and I bet sports sites, probably have Sami Zayn as one of, if not the favorite to win that Royal Rumble. And if he does win that Royal Rumble, I think he goes to WrestleMania and wins the world title. And as crazy as all of that is, requiring to win the Royal Rumble, going to WrestleMania to win, I think, weirdly enough, all of that is more likely than LA Knight actually winning the world title, because LA Knight just kind of continues to always be the third, fourth option on the main roster, wherever he is. If he's going for the world title, he's never the option. So we'll see. But I'm gonna agree with the majority here and say Sami Zayn. Should TKO buy TNA? Yes or no? All right, so majority are saying no at 56.2%. And you know what? I'll agree here. I don't want TKO to just become this monopoly of North American wrestling. I would like some independence amongst some of the larger organizations like TNA and AEW, of course. Now, TNA does have that working relationship with the WWE. I think it's inevitable that WWE buys TNA, but I would love for TNA to continue to hold on to that independence. So I'm going to say no. What is the better stipulation to end a feud? Last man standing match or an I quit match? Okay. Listen, I love both of these stipulations, and at 61.4% of the votes, last man standing wins. However, I will say that both of these stipulations have been ruined recently by the plucky babyface that refuses to die. I've made the joke before that the only way for a heel to win an I quit match or a last man standing match is to pull out a chainsaw and literally saw the babyface in half. It's the only way that heels can win these. We've seen with like I quit matches, it has to be some sort of like underhanded tactic for the heels to win, like threatening a loved one, threatening their wife, like they did with Edge when it was Edge going up against the Judgment Day. And last man standing, like, dude, like baby faces just don't lose these. But from an entertaining standpoint, I like last man standing more, so I'll go with that. It usually leads to more brutality. What PLE should become two nights first? Survivor Series War Games, Royal Rumble, or Money in the Bank? So we are now in an era where PLEs are going to cost more, $30 a month to get WWE premium live events in the United States. So if I'm an American fan of professional wrestling, I think I'd want every PLE to be two nights because I want to get the most out of my $30 since they're charging me way more. So that being said, I think it's inevitable that probably all of these that I have listed here will become two nights because these have become ridiculously profitable for the WWE, and it allows them to sell these events as economic drivers to all of these cities, and then these cities pay millions of dollars for these shows to come into town. I think the obvious answer is the one that everybody went with, 77.8% of the votes. I'm going to agree with the majority here, the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble just makes the most sense, right? Two nights, one night men's Rumble, one night the women's Rumble. It works for the other ones as well, right? One night Money in the Bank match for the men's, the other one for the women's, and same with the War Games matches. But Royal Rumble, I think, is the one that is the most fitting of it being 2 nights. So I'll go with the Rumble. All right, folks, thank you so much for participating in this or that. It's been a long time since we did one of these, but that was fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.